So basically, on the other side, I was focusing on researching augmented reality a little bit more, like just actually researching. So initially, the main idea is a game, yeah, like creating a game, and we like have expertise in web development. So ideally, we would like to keep it in web environment. So which means like you maybe using some JavaScript vanilla SDKs that they're compatible with AR, you know.
Like AR.js, right?
Yeah, AR.js. Again, we have an article with all the links, so if you want to check that out, yes, please go. But so this is our initial thought process. So I started kind of researching AR.js and again the whole environment, but quickly I realized that if you're making a game, there's gonna be lighting, there's gonna be audio, there's gonna be physics involved, like all the tracking, so it kind of makes sense to maybe think about using a game engine. I have some experience with Unity before, and after some little bit research, I found that Unity is one of the more popular softwares and engines for AR, basically AR environment. And AR is still getting more and more popular, but currently I think it's most popular at the marketing level. Like for example, now IKEA has an app that you can place your furniture in your room and like to match the actual size to see how it looks like. Toyota has like car customization that you can place your car in front of you in AR and just customize the parts. And I think that's where the most use currently is, and Unity really supports that.
I think you said this only came around like 2 years ago in Unity, right? Like before they had like very poor support for augmented reality.
Yeah, it's still a really new thing, and especially with web. So basically, Unity has support to render, build and compile to WebGL, which basically is web graphic engine environment. But yeah, just recently, and you need to understand that web is a closed environment, which is basically controlled by whichever browser you are. So if you're in Chrome, basically you're just running a layer on top of Chrome. So maybe some browsers still don't support WebGL even, I don't know, Internet Explorer or something like that. But even if it does support, you still are really limited by how camera is being transferred to actual code. There's always a layer, and basically so for these cases
so you mean even though you have fast computer or phone with strong hardware, it will be always decoded through browser, which is not running directly on your hardware. It's always decoded first of all in your browser, then sent to your device, or there is a possibility to connect somehow through WebGL to your graphic CPU, GPU, for instance.
I'm not 100% sure what's happening behind the background, but you always are limited by the web browser, as it's always have some security issues, or basically if they decide, for example, Apple, we had issues with what is the Apple browser?
Safari.
Yeah, with Safari, remember we always had issues that you can't even access push notifications. In Chrome, in Android, you can have push notifications straight from the web, which kind of replaces app. Of course, it doesn't replace, but it kind of
you can use PWA.
Yeah. It kind of it kind of bridges the gap a little bit closer. But in iOS, no, they don't support it, and they're not planning to, because they're scared, I guess, that if you support SBWA, is basically it's gonna be less apps developed to put on Play Store, App Store, and they earn less money basically. So you're always risking that if you're not in the native connection. Maybe they just said, oh, we don't support camera, maybe you need to I don't know, some special something to basically activate your camera and use AR SDK. So basically, yes, so that's a little bit of research, and I started to find those limitations with WebGL, but I still found couple SDKs. So I tested one which called the Zapworks. I think it's one of the first results in Google if you try to search connect Unity with WebGL AR. Basically, SDK is software like development package, because yes, Unity supports AR, but you still need extra layer on top that actually handles computer vision. Unity solves a lot of problems for like compiling and building. You can literally do your AR work and just build to anything, WebGL, iOS, Android, and it does all the compiling from like C# to any other language that basically you're compiling to, and it solves lighting, shadows, physics, and everything. Blender model. Like imagine if you're just using vanilla JavaScript, you need to find another library that supports Blender model, then basically create your own game engine that would handle all that. But still,
yeah, so not even going to gameplay, just creating the actual physics and the framework to even do anything.
Yeah, which is crazy. I guess we will get stuck for a while.
It's like building your own game engine, essentially.
Yes.
Almost.
Well, it is, because so basically, Unity solves that, yeah, but you still need a layer that handles the computer vision. So there's different SDKs. So I tried Zapier, which basically has a really good support for WebGL. As even if you compile to WebGL in Unity for AR, there's still some weird compatibility issues with some browsers that maybe the screen is not full with. So there's a Zapier SDK that provides their own template and basically solves that issues. And it has pretty good image tracking, and I guess it also has a real world tracking. So for example, for cases that IKEA has or Toyota has, where you just place an object, like you just scan environment and just place an object whenever you want. Snapchat has the fill, like you turn on the camera, you put the object whenever you want, it just sticks on that position. So this is called like world tracking. The computer vision understands the world around it and kind of places the object whenever you want. But for our case, we need like object tracking. I tested image tracking, which is basically you upload specific image to their engine, which creates basically training their vision engine to kind of understand that image and place the object on top of it. So testing that with Zapier, the performance wasn't like as as to what we expect, because imagine if it's a board game, we really need a really accurate tracking. Like if you're gonna be moving around with a phone,
there's some flickering going on when you try to scan it, even though like it's really close to the object. I tried it also from the link you sent. It's really unreliable. If you just twist the camera like a couple of degrees, it starts flickering. That would not be possible probably to create a gameplay with many objects.
I guess maybe there's some stuff that you can tweak, but I don't know. Like, I guess that's the engine. That's how they recognize it. And again, WebGL, maybe there's some limitations with the speed, how fast the camera gives the information, how fast everything happening. Again, I'm gonna continue my research, and it's really interesting how everything works behind the scenes. But currently, so we tried it. I tried Zapier, and it's amazing. It exports to WebGL, but the performance was not the best. And I think another drawback, I found out that they don't support 3D model tracking, which is, I think,
a deal breaker.
Deal breaker for us, because how we imagine that there's a figurine, real world figurine, that again computer vision understands and puts an object on top of it, or maybe to simulate some shooting, or like health bar and other AR elements, like game elements, actually interacts with it. So it's really important for us to have that. And so I started exploring other SDKs, and I found Vuforia, I don't know if I pronounced correctly, but I literally found a video of on YouTube, which is 11 hours if everyone wants to watch it. I didn't watch all of it. I just took the parts that I needed. But it's one of the more popular SDKs. And I think it makes sense to go something that is actively, maintained. There's a big community, because previous more JavaScript based SDKs are not that as popular as not a lot of people actually actively using web for AR, as it's a little bit niche. So basically, I tried Vuforia, and they support 3D object tracking, which we're gonna actually test start testing maybe next week, as it will be interesting to transform real world object to Blender, and then get that Blender model, put it to image record like training, and have that real world object, and to see how AR computer vision understands it and basically put something on top.
It would be interesting to test, because you said you already tried like a cube or something, like a simple object, and
from an image, and it wasn't really
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see, because my initial idea is to like something like AirPods case, like something like that, and take a photo of that. It's like a cube with round angles, like soft angles. But if you're saying that, so we will probably test something like this and some more detailed object, more angled object, more like maybe like a watch or something, like something more complicated, and see if computer vision can detect the difference, or I mean,
basically what it needs to detect. Because from initial testing, it seems that the more angles there is, basically it's easier for computer vision to add those points and track the object. If it's just a cube, it can't really recognize it easily.
Yeah, so we'll test it out, because some models in our game might be simple in terms of the shape. Like defensive wall will be much simpler than, I don't know, like a defensive like tower with guns. Like it has less objects, or angles. Why does it say it's creepy? It's not creepy. What's creepy about it? It's just a mask and a human body. What's creepy about it? I don't understand.
Dude, look at this.
What's creepy about it? It's just there's like Egyptian painting, on the wall when you go like this.
For me, it looks creepy. Like, it's just weird for me. It's not bad.
I wonder what it raises within you. Maybe it's good art,
For me, it's like a weird fetish that rich people take
young... you mean like Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah, like takes young girls and put weird masks and then...
Oh, that's... Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. But that's creepy.
Yeah. I tried testing with Vuforia, but unfortunately it doesn't support WebGL. I didn't find it yet how to compile and actually run it properly with web, as there's always errors and issues how it's being compiled, and even when you try the like testing environment, it just says, oh, the feature is not unavailable. I believe that if you want to spend a lot of time trying to dig and maybe change the code, I don't know, maybe it's possible. I don't know how they define the support on web or not. Like that's again it's a new ecosystem for us, so there's a lot to learn about that. Distribution, like basically distribution is that's why we wanted web, as we are really we like the simplicity of that. You just
cross-platform, simple, you host wherever you want, send the link, no, not needed.
Anyone can access it. Like, imagine getting a QR code, scan it, that's it, you're playing the game.
Yeah.
So we always we want that simplicity. But I think with the thing like game, which includes quite native functionality of a phone, I don't think it's really bad. There's nothing wrong with actually downloading the app. I don't think a lot of people expect to experience a high-end game without downloading anything. I think it's maybe we have that standard that we want everything to be accessible instantly on web, but I guess again it's basically learning something new things. And again, with Unity, it solves everything. As whatever you choose, I chose Vuforia SDK, and we will have to go native. You just work in internal Unity environment, and for example, you want to build for Android, it takes care and just compiles everything to Java.
You also have one code base for your actual logic of the game.
Yeah.
You don't need to have separate.
Basically everything, assets, and it's just gonna compile to whatever platform you want. That's
another good compromise for us.
Yeah, that's another reason why I guess Unity is popular, and and it's a good choice basically. So Rutan is just exported as a FBX format. Basically, you can export it as blender.blend as well, and Unity supports that. So what happens basically, each SDK has its own setup. So we won't go too deep how it's being set up. But to be fair, I haven't even touched the code yet. SDKs have their own environment, how they handle image modeling and image tracking, and you go through basically the setup. And as mentioned, I didn't have to write any code yet. Basically, I take the Blender model, import it to Unity, choose the image that I want to train. I did like a random AI generated tower, and I thought it's complicated because it has a weird shape, but it turns out that actually I think it's better for tracking, because once I tried a cube, it wasn't tracking at all. So I guess the more shapes and more like angles it's easier to track for computer vision. So you upload that to their database, like Fourier supports like a portal where you can track your models, and basically they pull that from database that connects with Unity. And you attach that Blender model literally to that image tracking object that they provide, and that's it. You place whenever you want that model to appear on top of the image and run the application. Even like what's amazing with Unity, that you don't need to export anything, just click run, and you can actually test it out with your computer camera. And if you want to build, you can choose your platform, Android, iOS, and you can test it out. But I just tried with running literally on computer. I showed the image on my phone and got attached, even though the phone has a reflective like a screen, which I guess is not the best for tracking. I was actually changing angles. It was attached pretty stably. So I'm happy with how the image tracking was working. So as we mentioned, we're going to try like actual model 3D object tracking next time. And I know that there's a lot of moving bits. Once we're going to dive deeper, there's a lot to learn. But initially, I think the setup is quite straightforward. Especially if you just want to go kind of native route, if you have like that environment set up as Unity, then Vuforia SDK, and running on your phone as an Android, or basically compiling to any native operation system. And I think it's a neat package, and it's not much setup, and it connects really nicely. Unity thought about that, and Vuforia, which is also supported and maintained, connects nicely to Unity, and there's not many issues with that. It's just the initial research, understanding the whole system is the hardest bit. But now I guess they will be starting to kind of we will have to start coding some bits to actually start to manipulate these models. Like actually there's gonna be animations, and so yeah,
AI logic, for attacking, fire.
AI.
I mean AI as in.
Oh yes.
It is AI because it's like artificial intelligence for a game, like that's what it's called. But it's not AI in terms of like computer learning stuff. It's more about like the game logic.
Yeah, but
who knows, we might apply actual AI as well.
From my initial experience, it seems that basically AR is just again a layer, but other than that, you're gonna use a game engine as Unity, as normally. You're gonna select these specific objects that you import and attach the code, and they're gonna be executed whenever, like just any other game. Just this extra layer that each object is appearing on real 3D figurine basically. So yes, I think it's gonna be a really interesting journey trying to connect both worlds, and yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for watching. Follow us on all digital platforms, on TikTok, Instagram. I don't think we have Facebook, so follow all platforms. Watch out for short videos as well. And yeah, thanks for watching. We appreciate it a lot. So.
Yeah, we're gonna keep you updated with the progress. Thank you. Bye.